We have a motion to accept the minutes of the June 4th.
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Second.
The next item on the agenda is a discussion around the air quality data for the Lowell High School construction project. And we have Mr. Dow from Skanska here to answer any questions that the board had regarding last month's Lowell High School report. Good evening, Mr. Dowd.
Good evening. I'm also joined by Justin Lyons from Suffolk Construction.
Thank you. Hi. So maybe I can just give a quick background. Monthly, we have been getting the indoor air quality reports provided by Cashins. In previous months, I believe we had some information on, so this is the problem and this was the remediation. I think in the May report, there were background VOC levels that were elevated in a number of places. The highest reading was along the temporary wall between building A and B, which, folks thought indicated that the compounds were coming through the construction site, through the construction zone, sorry. So it says in the report that Cashins did, that Suffolk was notified immediately about the elevated levels. And what we didn't get at that time was what the remediation was. And as you know, we have had some consistent higher levels of VOCs when we get the air quality reports. And then my other question is, Cashins said they discussed with Suffolk the possibility of sampling for elemental carbon inside the school building to gather data on potential overexposure to diesel particulate emissions. But it doesn't say whether that was happening. So I guess the board, when we get these, it's nice if we can see what the remediation is, or I guess the board was starting to wonder is that we were getting consistently abnormal levels, and we just wanted to have a discussion with you folks about the remediation or prevention of those, since school's going to be opening, and that's really where we're at, unless the board has any other comments or questions. Okay.
No, and of course it's not, anyone smelling or being exposed to the VOCs, whether it's exhaust, whether it's the chemicals of construction, whether it's just something that's happening within the school. I think as far as the mitigation goes, when these things are made, when we're made aware of these situations, we immediately have people on it. We're checking, we're making sure that there's no breach in whether it's the wall, whether it's or it could be welding operations on the roof and someone's opened a window. I'm not saying that happened, but it's all part of making sure that the intakes, nothing that there's no construction activity or remnants of welding that is allowed to go into the intakes. So that's the mitigation, as far as making sure that there's no obvious reason why that's happening. So I think when the complaint is made, or whether the result is made, aware to us, we immediately go on, I'll say, mitigation mode and make sure that it doesn't continue to happen. So.
Mr. Lyons, I'm sorry, can you just state your name?
Justin Lyons. This is on, right?
Justin Lyons.
It's hard to hear you. Yeah. Suffolk Construction, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard. Not saying it's impossible, but it's hard to identify when there is an issue like this of where exactly anything's coming from. Because, it could be coming from within the school. It could be perfumes. It could be things that sprayed, cleaning materials. So the best thing we can do is eliminate, our activities from being the possible issue. And I know even when there's not testing going on, the second something happens or is smelled, it's immediately, notified.
If if the main office gets complaints from any of the staff, they reach out to myself or the other folks with Skanska, and we immediately contact Skanska and Suffolk. And then Suffolk and the Skanska folks will go into the field and see what exactly the source is. And sometimes we do find a source. Oh, there's someone welding and the smoke eaters and the fans weren't on, we'll immediately put them on. So, so if Mr. Viato or Mr. Smulligan give us a call if there's an issue, or usually they text us, we jump right on that, and they've been happy with our response.
And I think one of the things was there was flooring being done with glue or something that was a bad smell, and I guess the plan was not to do it during the day when the students were there. Is there any plan to, and do you think there's any need for sampling for elemental carbon?
I don't, but I'm not sure who determines that threshold.
We could speak with Cashions, and we also have plans with school starting. We're going to have Cashions come in and do baseline readings before school starts, then come in after school starts. And regarding the welding, I know we had a lot of second shifts in which we moved the welders that were an issue to second shift to avoid when school was in session, which successfully mitigated that issue.
And I know during this time that, right, there was welding on the roof during the month of May. And it's always possible that whether it's the weather that day, whether it's the, negative pressure in the building, the air that, could cause those fumes to basically travel outside around the building, and still enter the building, whether it's through a door or any other window. And that's hard, but it's hard to predict that to happen. But I think what we've always done is we just stop the work. We stop the work until we identify and make sure that it's.
And we went back and looked, and on the daily reports, there was welding on the roof there, so that may have been the third floor, but we don't, because 2 months ago, and nobody remembers, we don't have any, and that's typically what happens, is they will stop the welding. But going off of memory, 2 months later, we don't have any information that they in fact stopped that welding that day, but knowing from past experience, that is typically what they do, because if they get a word from Cashions, they jump on it.
So where will most of the construction be? Where is it going on now? Which part of the school?
Right now, it's on the east and west side of the canal, but once school starts in August, all the work's confined to the east side of the canal. So the older building, if you're on the street, the one on the left.
There's also going to be less occupation of the, because the 1980s, the entire 1980s building is open. So the south part of the 1922 that has been open and where these issues were, a lot of those people are getting moved out of the 1922 building into the 1980s building. So the amount of people that are going to be in the same building for this fall as the construction is going to be limited. In fact, the entire third floor of 1922 and the 1892, the school is going to have those vacant. Those are actually going to be blocked off, so there will only be 2 floors. You'll have primarily ROTC, which is in the 1892 in the basement, far away from construction, and all the classrooms bordering construction are purposely going to be vacant in the fall.
We don't allow any trucks queuing on the street or in Lucille Arkham. I mean, those are, as a matter of like SOP, that's not going to happen. If it ever does happen, I believe we've always caught it prior to any complaint even being made anyway. But there's just a lot of possibilities. But we do have the staff, and we have our ears and eyes open at all times.
Does anyone have any questions?
Sounds good.
No? Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming, and we do appreciate to continue getting the indoor air quality reports in a timely manner. And if there are any abnormalities, it is appreciated if there can be some comments on what the mitigation was.
No, and I apologize for the comments on here. In the future, will be much more elaborate as far as what was happening that day. So you actually have more of a real-time answer on that activity and the possibility of certain activities relatable to the elevated readings.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have a good night. The next item on the agenda is the monthly development service report submitted by Matthew Sheehan.
Way to go get him. Way to go get him. Madam Chair.
Hello, everybody.
Aye.
As you can see in the paperwork in front of you, 4 failed establishments. Majority of it was for faulty equipment. Equipment that wasn't out of service, wasn't properly tagged. Everything is passed and up to date with those. We had 1 food policy complaint in the month of July. It was investigated by my team. There was no fault in the restaurant. Just chalk it up to bad raw seafood. As everybody knows, you eat raw seafood, it's a gamble. So, but again, there was no fault at the restaurant. Myself and the team went into all the summer school programs. We found no issues in any of the programs. We hit them all. We hit them all in the course of 3 days. There were about 4 of us that went out every day, so that was good. We reminded everybody that we will be back in the month of September to perform our regular inspections. And hopefully everything works out.
Thank you very much for doing that. It's much
Absolutely, yes.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt for
Yeah.
a second? So the facility at 44 Palmer Street, the restaurant,
Yes, ma'am.
they've been on the it looks like their last inspection was, they passed, which was in January. But they have had failed inspections previously. I don't know whether they need to be on a more frequent schedule or not.
So based on what we found there, they're going to be on a more frequent schedule.
Oh, they are?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah. The gentleman, one of the team members that's assigned to that, so he'll go, maybe on a monthly basis, maybe on every 2 months, but
Oh, okay,
they're on a list.
okay.
Yeah, as I said, there was no issues with any of the school summer programs. We had no issues at Folk Fest, successful weekend on our end. I have attached, I don't know if everybody could see it, but I created a little flyer about feeding wildlife in the city and what it attracts. So, I want to thank Director Lloyd DeJesus and Assistant City Manager Giovanni Baez-Rose for helping me. So her team got the little doggies and all that, pictures and stuff, because my computer talent doesn't go that far. But, I mean, it pretty much hits home. Like, once people start, I get it. People want to feed, like, squirrels, raccoons, things like that. But it attracts everybody. And, we're having issues, with rodents. So when a call comes in, myself, the team, I'll send some team members out, and we'll literally just paste this to everybody's doors in the neighborhood where we're having the issue. So hopefully it stops, they stop feeding the wildlife. If they don't, sometimes, monetary fines are levied for minimum maintenance. We don't want to do that, but, we're trying to get ahead of this as best we can.
Is there anybody, sometimes towns have that person that's always feeding the pigeons. Is there anybody that's routinely throwing bread out for the pigeons?
Well, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people in neighborhoods that, like you said, Doctor, like they're putting bread out there.
Yeah.
Or they'll put a bird feeder right on their, whatever, let's call it a deck table. Like, those things need to be elevated. Rats don't have wings, so they can't get up there. And so it's an educational piece to tell everybody, like, I get it, but please don't.
Yeah, do we have the ability to fine if they continue to feed wildlife?
We do.
We do.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Good.
And like I said, it's the last ditch.
Yeah.
option, But we have.
Yeah,
There was a certain neighborhood that we had to issue monetary fines, and thankfully the problem stopped.
Is there, I know like a while ago, the state gave us a sign about feeding the birds. It was because of the bird flu, but could we get signage like on the river walks? I do see a lot down there, people just like feeding the birds and stuff.
Yeah, we could talk about it, absolutely. I'm not sure if we own that or if that's part of like DCR, but I mean, we can have the conversation.
we did put signs up
For the geese.
for the geese.
Not to feed the geese.
Yeah,
Not to feed the geese because it was polluting the beach. The more you feed the geese, the bigger the problem at the beach.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so we did make up the city of Lowell made up signs and we did put them up.
I can,
so-
I'll look into that. See
Okay.
what was done in the past, absolutely. Yep. Okay, I want to draw your attention to the last item under miscellaneous. So I got a phone call, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, from a gentleman that was born and raised in the city of Lowell. He's now a tattoo artist in the state of Oklahoma. He would like to bring a tattoo expo to the city. So it would either have to be the Songus Arena or the auditorium. How it would be set up is there'd be 10 by 10 booths. Tattoo artists would come in, they'd rent out one of those booths. But before we got even to that step, we would need to establish a temporary tattoo permit. Now, that being said, we would have to come up with a cost of said permit. I did speak to my counterpart in the city of Boston and my counterpart in the town of Sturbridge. They do these every year. They've been very successful for them, for the town of Sturbridge and the city of Boston. So how it would work is the board would come up with a temporary tattoo permit, a fee for said permit. But the inspection on my end would be just like we were going to a local tattoo shop to do each individual vendor. They would have to provide us with all the information that they do now. My suggestion would be, if this were to happen, that everything would be disposable. No kind of old school tattooing where autoclaves are needed, things like that. Everything would have to be disposable. Waivers would have to be signed by everybody. We would probably have to put 1, 2, or 3 health inspectors every day. It would be a Friday through Sunday thing, just to make sure that everybody is maintaining the working environments, everything's being properly disposed of.
Would someone pre-check that they're certified or licensed tattoo artists? Like, would their credentials be, like, I don't know what the state of Oklahoma has for requirements, but would,
So the way I looked at it and the way, when I spoke to the gentleman from Boston, they would have to meet our standards.
yeah,
So what our standards are in the city, take the state out of the equation, what our standards are in the city, they would have to meet those.
right,
And again, I told the gentleman over the phone that, I was gonna bring this to you folks this month and see what the temperature is, if this is something that we would want to entertain. I mean, you're talking about thousands of people.
How many tattoo artists, though? How many tattoo artists would be expected to come in?
So I would think that would depend on that would depend on the vendor, whether it's the arena or the auditorium, because I don't know how many 10 by 10 booths you can fit
Right.
into like the footprint, so to speak. So, like if you were to do it at the arena, it'd be set up on the floor like a convention.
Right.
I think we did this before at the auditorium, several years ago, many years ago,
Somebody
maybe.
asked and they were denied because the regs have it too close to the schools.
So
There's no
again,
such
that,
in an
it's
outline
not,
immaculate.
it's during the weekend, so there's no school in
Yeah.
session. It would be after hours on Friday, all day
Yeah.
Saturday, all day Sunday.
Yeah,
That was before my time, though. So it's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah, we never issued.
No, they don't.
I thought we
Like,
had a-
I didn't
I
want to
thought
get
we
that
did.
far
Someone
ahead.
came and asked.
I thought we
because
did.
I wanted to see if we would even entertain this, because it's something that wouldn't go through special events, because the two, you know, the Songus Arena or the auditorium, they would have to, one, see if they could get a date with them, and then two, they would have to come to us. And, you know, we would, whatever their rules and regulations are for each venue, they would have to adhere to that, and then they would have to adhere to what we would put forward.
So would the person running or organizing this be responsible for all of the vendors to get the information to you, or would you have to be tracking each?
No, so we would set, I mean, looking at this, I would set this up just like Folk Fest. So there's the board of Folk Fest. There's one person that handles all the food vendors. So she puts all the packets together with all their information, their serve safe, their allergen, everything that we expect. So whoever would run this would have to do that.
Okay,
And again, they would have to pay, obviously, the temporary permit fees per tattoo artist, adhere to whatever licenses, certifications, anything that we require in the city. And then they would have to pay the fees of having health inspectors there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Would we want a public nurse there? So,
we're a little short on public health nurses right now. In case you're not aware, there were 3 positions, 3 public health nurses in this large city, and now there's currently 1 public health nurse in this large city. I'm glad you mentioned public health nurses. Matt, thank you.
sorry.
I mean, if not, you could always do EMTs or someone, I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
not
Like I
to
said,
take away from your comment, though.
Yeah.
The gentleman was, like I said, he was born and raised in the city. He's very excited about this, but I didn't want to get too far ahead to see if, you know, the board was interested in creating a temporary tattoo permit to host something like this. And again, it's, you know, we could do everything, and the Songus Arena and the auditorium could just say, no, they don't have space, or whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
this is something next year.
Is there any reason, Matt, that you think we would not support it?
No, I think this would be a great event for the city.
Right.
I think it'd be a lot of fun, because you're going to get a tattoo artist, from the conversation I had with the gentleman, from obviously this state, you know, the entire country, and some guys from, you know, around the world. Guys and girls from around the world would come in, you know, to tattoo. And again, they have to adhere to what we do in the city, like how I inspect a tattoo shop, that, you know, we're going to do that to every single vendor that comes in here. And I mean, they might not have, 100 tattoo artists. It might just be 10, 20, or,
Yeah.
you know, 30, and they might have a bunch of, whatever, different kinds of vendors and things like that.
So when they tried to do it before, and you said it was too close to the school, because I think both those locations are within that footprint, was there a possibility to?
It has a Lowell Day Nursery and the university within X number of feet, and then the auditorium has,
Oh.
I don't know why it was an issue with the school. I mean,
So where's a
if this is
weekend, would they
Friday,
do a waiver? Like, would our law, I guess that's the question we'd have to ask, is like, would the law department be able to do a waiver because we have that zoning thing on the regs for the tattoo artists? I think that's, so do we, like, a
not- it's
motion
not-
to ask if they would do that?
so could we get around that if it was after school hours on Friday and Saturday and Sunday? I mean,
I don't see why we couldn't, but again, I'm not 100% sure.
it's a
because
question for the law
Right, I was
department.
gonna say, it's not necessarily a question for this board. The
Yeah.
question for this board is, are we supportive of this
Right.
process, and are we okay with figuring out how to grant the temporary license? The answer is, I think
Yes.
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 And then we'll leave it to you to come up with the details.
we'd have to consider too,
This is
whether
what
you're
Sturbridge
just,
is temporary permits.
you'd also have to consider whether you're gonna allow temporary tattoo permits for shops if they wanna bring somebody in, or if you're just gonna pertain it to a convention. There's like a bunch of different things you'll have to consider.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a shop. If we're licensing each individual person, it would just be each individual person. They want to put the
Should
shop
be.
name behind it, go ahead, but it's really just a person, I would think.
So, I mean, the way I've seen it, I Googled it, I've seen a couple of videos. Like, so if it was Matt Shan Tattooing, you know, I would come in, I would set my stuff up, and my name would be on a backdrop against the wall with like maybe my picture or something like that.
Right.
You know, because you have to advertise each individual artist.
So the only thing that's just not jumping out right here is I think we have some experience requirements in terms of, right, of getting licensed? Don't they have to be supervised for a period of time before they're granted a license?
You have to be licensed for 2 years before you can get permitted in the city.
Well, that's what we're saying, is that these folks would have to have the same requirements that the tattoo artists in Lowell have, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Like, if they wanna do an expo here, they would have to adhere to what we expect.
Right.
What I go out, myself and the team, when we do inspections, they're gonna have to adhere to that.
So I was just looking at this document, they don't have anything in there about experience, that's all.
I would think prior to,
They're regs.
right, prior to
Yeah, maybe they don't care.
And they
the
would have to-
tattoo festival, their qualifications would have to be reviewed.
Oh, yeah, so, with a festival in the city, it's a 2-week turnaround time. They're supposed to give us other stuff for it. But if we were to do something like this, we're looking at a month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months prior to the event, because depending on how many artists come in, it's going to be a lot of paperwork for myself, the clerks, and my team to go through. It's going to be, we're going to go
Come
through
and
the
get
whole
approved here,
magnifying glass.
They wouldn't have to come before us.
Yes, they would. Why wouldn't they?
You issue the permit.
Not personally, but
No,
at least the
that's what I
applications.
mean.
Oh, no,
The
the applications anyway, yeah.
Yeah, the application, but not them personally.
No,
No, I mean, I would foresee that the organizer of this expo would come before the board, and ask for the temporary permit for, the event. But I mean, if you're looking at 50 tattoo artists and $150 a whack or whatever the board wants to decide, maybe $200 for the temp, it's a little source of income for the city.
Well, the question is, are we then gonna have to pay your team during the weekend, or is the event paid for you guys?
No, so the event would pay for it.
Okay.
So like, when the festivals come into the city,
Yep.
they have to pay for police detail, fire detail, and us. If they want electrical out there, they have to pay for all that stuff that encompasses the festival. So that would be on the festival organizer. The city wouldn't pay for that.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, so I think the board is saying, we're in support of you exploring the possibility.
All right,
But right now, it's, Boston is 100 and Sturbridge is 100, right, for temporary. And just so you know, you can vote, the board can vote for this, but it actually is the city council that sets the fees. So you can vote, and I think you have to take a vote. Carrie, the board would have to take a vote, right? And then we'll vote to bring it to the city council, and then I can write up a memo and bring it to the city council that this is what we want to do, and then they'll take the final vote.
but I'll compile more information, and I'll work with Director Golden, and, we'll see if we can get this thing moving, maybe sometime, I'll tell the gentleman, maybe sometime next year.
And I would just say that it'd be good when you come back to bring what you would propose as the temp license stuff, so we can have our version of it.
And at the same time, I'll work with, John McKenna worked on the regulations, so I'll have John McKenna look back at the regulations to see if there's something that we have to write in for, if we're going to do something temporary like this, that we'd have to put in a clause for, like a school or something like that, if there's something we have to put for temporary, something like this that's going on, if there's a school zone or something like that. So I'll take a peek at that at the
Both
same
of
time.
those venues have schools near them. I don't know what the issue really is, but.
University?
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, have a good night.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Pride Star Trinity overdose report, including May and June. Any questions?
Nope. Bad months.
Yeah. Seems like the numbers went up a bit. Next item on the agenda is the Lowell Tobacco Control Report.
Did you say tobacco report?
Yes.
Sorry. Caesar did have a sale to a minor, so he will have a hearing for next month.
He had a what?
Sales and market.
Sale to a minor?
The Country Farms.
Country Farms, yeah.
Come before, haven't they?
Okay. Okay. Next item for information are the two Central Mass Mosquito Control Project information with regard to spraying.
Did you want me to talk about mosquitoes now, or wait for the director's report?
Oh, go right ahead, talk
Okay,
about
thank you.
mosquitoes.
Just an update on West Nile virus. So Bill Ricka's now had 2 positive West Nile mosquitoes. Those are just the mosquitoes that are trapped that they have tested. And Drake has had 1 positive West Nile virus. So the state is up to 7 trapped mosquitoes that are positive for triple E. No animals positive and no humans positive. We're up to 94 positive West Nile mosquitoes. 1 animal has tested positive and no humans have tested positive. So we are doing spraying tonight in the city. The Pawtucket Memorial and the Wang School and an area in Pawtucketville that was planned prior to today. And last week, we sprayed Colley Stadium, the Pine Art School, Shed Park, the Butler, and the Shaughnessy School. So we are doing some spraying on top of the spraying that the residents can do.
So just, can you explain, because we're talking about it, what it means Lowell's current risk is remote? Does that mean that there's no, Bill Rickerson is close enough to me to be not remote?
So because we haven't, so today, we just came up with Bill Ricka with 1 more mosquito and Drake it with a mosquito. And it just came up today. It's kind of like COVID, we're a week behind, so they may change us next week.
So we're remote, meaning we're not close to any confirmed mosquitoes with it?
We haven't any
We'll
confirmed.
Probably be upgraded.
Right, they may update it, they may upgrade us next week, but it's kind of like that lag with COVID, like, it could be next week. And with it being with 2 surrounding communities, but it depends on where it is in those surrounding communities, because it could be far away. So I don't know, don't tell me where it is in those communities.
So is it a miles, distance miles? Is there like you draw a circle, it's 10-mile perimeter? If it's not within 10 miles, it's...
So usually a mosquito, when we spray, it's usually within a mile. So a mosquito can travel within a mile. So that's like the perimeter it can. The other thing is that West Nile, even though you talk about West Nile, there's different types of mosquitoes that carry West Nile, and some of them are worse than others. I'm not quite sure how I get all this knowledge, but
Very smart.
no, it's because we've had a few of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the EMSL analytic report for the Pawtucket Memorial School. Again, I thought we usually got, there's no narrative in this report. I thought in previous reports we had some narrative that commented on the air testing.
But when I look at it, they were all below the outdoor
Yeah.
level, right?
Right.
So maybe that's why there's no comment, because they're all below
Yeah,
the
I
outdoor
guess.
level.
I'm sorry, I thought it was attached to this, and I believe that the 2 classrooms, I'll email it to the board tomorrow. I believe that the 2 classrooms that were high, which were 75 and 70, the 75 and 76, and I believe it was this one. I believe that they said that the classroom windows were open, but I'm not absolutely positive on that. I'll send you the full email tomorrow. I apologize for that.
I screwed up with that. Opening the classroom windows is dangerous and keeping it closed.
Well, this was done on June 10th, so it was when the kids were in session, and it was a nice day, so,
Yeah, no, I understand that. I would open the window too.
yeah, so, yeah.
So the question stands about the Pawtucket Memorial. At the June meeting, we had information that the chiller was to be installed. And so there's a question on whether that happened or not, and you and I can't seem to get an answer to that question.
Yes, so I spoke to Paul St. Cyr today. The chillers are installed. the chillers are turned on, the chillers are functioning, and the temperature is 72 degrees in the building. I spoke to him today.
That's wonderful,
might sleep there.
considering we were told October, but we're very happy that they're on.
Right. And there's work in a lot of other buildings going on during the summer as well.
Someone's buzzing. Oh. That's good to hear. The next item on the agenda is division reports.
One thing that I missed was, I did hand out to you, is the unwanted medication and sharps disposal day will be a little bit after our September meeting, so I'll mention it again then. September 13th from 10 to 2 at the senior center for sharps and unwanted medications. You do have the school health unit for the full year. So total student encounters are 122,670. They see a lot of kids. So I believe we will have, if we can fill to full potential, we'll have 30 school nurses. They'll be starting with 2 FMLAs, and we just had 2 resignations. So we have a couple of interviews tomorrow, and we have positions posted.
So in the school nurse report, there were tube feedings, which I assume the school nurses were doing for the special ed nurses. Do we have, are there going to be special ed nurses in the schools in the fall?
So there are special ed positions posted. So the reason for that is that some of the schools have, because of school choice, we have some students that are in schools that do not have special ed nurses, or some children don't fit under the special ed guidelines that get tube fees.
So that is the reason for the health department school nurses doing them, not that there were an absence of special ed nurses in
Correct.
general.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The special ed department hires, agency nurses to fill the special ed positions.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't, the city doesn't fill in for the special ed nurses.
You know, because if we have a major problem, we might have to bring some of those school nurses into the health department to act as public health nurses, if someone decides not to hire any public health nurses.
You should be clear on the microphone.
Next,
Public health report. We did post a public health nurse position yesterday. I reallocated funds within the health department to post a second position.
you took the money from your salary?
I took money from my salary, yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. I figured out my checkbook and I reallocated funds.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know I am slow. I
No.
still don't understand the TV report.
The TB report.
Explain the difference between TB cases reported, TB cases reported revoked, and TB infection cases reported. There's 3 that all mean the same thing to me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the differences.
Jesus. Yeah, I'll have Nicole come to the next meeting report and do it. Okay, TB cases reported, suspected, and confirmed. So for the month of July, we have 3.
So the word revoked, I keep getting stuck on it.
So those are cases that are ruled out, the revoked cases.
Revoked, or we didn't take any away.
Okay, and then the TB infection cases reported, which is a dramatically different number.
Those are LTBIs, latent TB
LTBI.
infection.
Those are ongoing infections.
So so reported means new to me. These just mean people that are following and they've been following?
Yeah, LTBI reported, they reported positive IGRAs.
So just positive, negative X-ray or whatever, and so they're being monitored or treated, or?
Yeah, they're probably getting treatment for LTBI,
Okay.
for
Not on-
infection, not
Not necessarily on meds, don't have to take meds.
Got it, right,
Right.
okay, all right, thank you. And
That
then
better?
do we need to continue to do the refugee arrival since there's not gonna be any for the next 3 days?
What? Oh, no, people still coming in.
Oh, they are still?
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have B1.
Less,
B1s, they're
much
coming in,
A lot of zeros.
to a family. Yep.
Okay,
We
much
still
less
have
in the
B1.
way of arrivals.
thank you.
And we do have flu vaccine on order. So the news today that the flu and COVID has been squashed, I think that it's already in production, so I don't really know what that means, so. Yeah, so I don't really know what that means, so. I think it's already in production. So I don't know what we're talking about.
Was it the purchasing? I know that I just read a headline, he's canceling all mRNA vaccination things. Was it canceling the purchasing of them or the research?
Research.
Research,
So these were already
yeah.
existing ones.
But he said flu and COVID as well, research for flu and COVID, but I believe this year's production
But
is
it's
already.
just for mRNA
Yeah,
vaccine.
all
But the way,
vaccines for COVID are all the mRNA.
right, but he also said flu, COVID, and mRNA, but I think the press is reporting it out as flu and COVID, but I don't think that's real.
Yeah.
Okay. The only ones that I know are mRNA are the COVID
Right.
ones. but-
Right,
But
And
it's
then-
For research for further,
right.
to expand.
Correct.
And then the substance co-op report, the co-op for the month of July put, I think, 26 or 30 people into detox, so they've been working very hard. And Andres and Tom last week hit 100,000 syringes picked up, so Andres will have one of his fancy flyers next month.
He needs to get like some kind of plaque.
He will, yes,
It looks like 10,000 since January.
yes. Yes.
So, Lisa, I wanted to ask you a question about this. You see a lot of people bent over, and downtown seems to be the newest thing with fentanyl. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Erin.
So we have fentanyl,
Yes,
we have
what's-
xylazine, and we have this
Right.
new veterinary medication as well that is causing these withdrawal seizures. No, it's not ketamine, it's meta something, yeah.
I've
So
just
there's a
noticed
new
like a
one.
huge
Yeah.
uptick in the downtown, like on the the Jam Plant area,
Yeah.
the Jackson Street area. I just was wondering, if you had any information on that, or.
Yeah, there's a new-
Are there any initiatives to help? I mean, that seems very frightening to me, but.
So starting today at 3:30, so today, tomorrow, and through next week, actually, the co-op's working late today and tomorrow through next week with the Neighborhood Response Unit and some other ones. They're doing a blast with the LTLC, the shelter, to try to get people in to help and get them off the street to see what they can do, because that area is just a little saturated with people just hanging out, not,
Right, or I've
And-
noticed that,
yeah.
like bent over, sort of unresponsive,
Yeah.
but standing up
yeah.
a
and-
lot more.
and-
That particular,
Yeah, and open drug use and
yes,
stuff.
oh,
so,
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Lisa, is that the two drugs that you just said, do they respond to Narcan too? Or is that the ones that don't?
No,
Only opioids,
no,
right?
it's
They're
not,
not classified
it's
as
not
opioids.
responding to Narcan. And so the xylazine, they don't respond to Narcan, and it takes them longer to wake up. But this other drug, what's happening is they're not responding to Narcan, and the problem is they're needing ICU placement. And when they start to withdraw, they're having seizures.
Seizures, yeah, it's a big thing.
There's actually a call tomorrow. The CDC is putting a call out tomorrow, so some of the co-op and Lowell House is going to listen to the call.
Oh, so it's a nationwide sort of problem.
It kind of starts for some reason in like Pennsylvania. There's a few hot spots it starts in. so they know it's coming. Yeah. So it just, so the neighborhood response unit, Captain Damaris is really good about seeing where things are going on, and he actually called me before I left the office at 2 and asked for some help from the co-op, because, you know, try to get people into
Yeah.
detox, see what they can do with
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for asking and
Yeah,
and
it's been
noticing
rough.
that, so, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a consideration for us to go into executive session to consider and discuss litigation related to the Board of Health decision regarding Two Brothers Smoke Shop and Vape, a public discussion of which could have a detrimental effect on the board's position. Do we have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of considering and discussing litigation related to the Board of Health regarding Two Brothers Smoke Shop, public discussion of which could have a detrimental effect on the board's position, with our plan not to return to public session upon conclusion? And
Yes.
we have a motion. And second?
Second. I don't know what I'm motioning to. So does this just mean to turn the cameras off?
Correct.
Closing that door?
Private session, correct.
This gentleman here staying?
He's from the law department.
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, do we
Have
need
to
a
take a vote.
roll call?
Joanne,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Erin? Yes. Alice?
Yes.
So we have to, make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Someday someone's gonna look back at the record and see if like for 3 years, I would motion that every time.
I assume they will turn those cameras.